Today, we are culminating my fourth Sunday. I just can't believe it. Just feels that now I'm getting started. And I hope that it has definitely been an expansive experience. This is how I call my time here, an expansion capsule. And just doing a little recap, the first week we talked about how the awareness of being loved and being loved ourselves is the foundation of anything else. How the importance of knowing that we have access to a lot of information through beyond the mind, the heart. And then last week we talked about surrendering and placing God first and be more willing to be in the flow. And that lands us into today, which is the name of the talk is I Am Empowered, All is Possible. And what I believe happens, the more we are in resonance with truth, the more empowered we feel, and things that we couldn't consider before, now we feel, well, that maybe I can go for that. So it's almost like we are in a good place to explore deeper things about ourselves and desires of our heart that might be distanced or not reachable, and now we're trying to uncover. So today, during this talk and part of my afternoon workshop, it's going to be an invitation to have a visioning session with yourself, in which you can maybe explore what is really my mission and vision right now in my life, and what are really the values that sustain that mission and vision. And we tend to think of mission and vision as something that we just had, Chris had us repeat the mission and the vision for this organization, and we know that all the organizations talk about that. What is their mission? What is their vision? And I'm glad that my oldest daughter is here visiting today with her boyfriend, Ian. Thank you, Claire. But you're going to love this because she's a big fan of Disney. Claire, do you know what Disney's mission is? It's to entertain, inform, and inspire people around the globe through the power of storytelling. And the vision is to be one of the leading producers and providers of entertainment and information. So we could say that based on mission and vision and values, according to that identity, you show up in the world and you make decisions, right? And I also see like there's a vibration out there. And I have a great example from my own experience in flying. You know that I'm originally from Puerto Rico, and for a while now, the only airline doing direct flights was Frontier. But a couple of years ago, JetBlue started flying also direct. So I switched to JetBlue and realized, oh my God, I love JetBlue so much more. And then, you might relate to me. And then I'm like, okay, what is the mission of Frontier? And the mission of Frontier is to make a flying experience easy, affordable, and enjoyable. But you know what the mission for JetBlue is? To inspire humanity, both in the air and on the ground. So can you feel the vibration? One is to just make it affordable and enjoyable, and the other one is to inspire humanity. Even before they opened, and they opened the airline years ago, they were really convinced that their values had to come first. And what are their values? By the way, I'm not being sponsored by JetBlue or safety, caring, integrity, passion, and fun. They say inspire our culture and guide our decisions. And giving back is core. So they have this JetBlue Give Back. And one of the things that they're working in is a lot with youth and education in underprivileged communities. And I have two great examples. After I was analyzing this, it made sense because in one of my trips, I saw the airline crew coming into the airline to clean, and I saw this young girl. I'm sure she was 15 or 16. And I'm like, is this for real? This girl cleaning here? Then I realized that it's part of how they empower young people. Also realize that they're big in making sure you get your credits if their flights are delayed, which is really confirmation of how much in integrity they operate. Anyways, this is just to bring you into the idea that everybody, even people, we have our, even we might not be fully aware, but there's something that is really guiding our decisions, our personal mission and our vision. And some of us are more clear than others. Sometimes in lives, there are periods in which you're like really clear, other times you're trying to explore. But I want you to think about mission, something as to what I'm doing in my present, and vision is like, where am I really headed, right? And I was analyzing that for myself, and I'm like, okay, what is my mission? I really feel that my mission is to keep working on myself spiritually so that I can support others in the realization of truth through the unity principles of abundance. I really love the mission of our ministry is to offer the principles for true abundance, which is way beyond money. And then my vision is that I see a world awakening to the truth, to a true abundance experience. So like I was saying, today, you know that I always tell you what I'm going to sell you. But today I want to sell you how it is really important to explore where am I and where I'm headed from the perspective that as the more we anchor on truth and we know we have a stronger connection with spirit, then we are in a place to say, hey, that seemed impossible before, there's an opportunity, there's possibilities that I can have that be. And it's almost like I see it like coming from a space of unconsciousness to a place of more awareness and consciousness. So meaning unconsciousness, it's something as to how in automatic are you living? How are you driven by your own habits? How is it that you are like most of the times operating from your comfort zone versus being in a place of awareness, more in connection, heart and mind, more listening to that inner voice, paying attention more to the messages and to the inklings that come from spirit. And it's like more and more deciding and being aware, am I coming from unconsciousness, the automatic, or am I really paying attention and following that inner guidance? And then the more we decide on the latter, and the more we give it space, it's like your life starts really changing completely to a new plane. And even though there's parts of you that might say, as you start thinking about a daring vision, which is how I call the workshop today, there might still be parts of you that says, oh, we have an expression in Spanish that says, soñando con pajaritos preñados. So I asked Claire, how do you say that in English? And she said, your head is in the cloud. I said, okay. Is there this side of us that says, be more realistic? And one of Osvaldo's favorite lines is, better the bad that you know than the good that it could happen to you. Malo por conocer, que bueno por ser. And if you think about it, when I say a daring vision, why is it daring? First of all, what is the definition of daring? And the dictionary says that to be daring is to be bold and adventurous, and it's a quality possessed by people who tend to take risk, right? In other words, it's an attitude in which you're willing to take steps without having your success be a guarantee, right? And maybe be willing to break a social pattern or an ancestral pattern Um, and that can be really, really uncomfortable with the ego. Because the ego wants to be in control and wants to be in a space of what I know, what I can see. And then, like I said before, the heart starts saying, no, 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 there's something else. And there's this disconnect until we start realizing more and more, the more we expand spiritually, that the vision that God has for our life, it's only the vision that will really make us truly happy and fulfilled. When I speak like this about opening up to something new about your future, I know that many people might go, oh, that might be for younger people, but I'm already in my latter years of my life or in my autumn of my life. But if you think about it, even aging can be done in a more enlightened and conscious way than just in automatic and be like everybody else, right? Aging involves processes of a lot of changes physically and emotional and spiritually. But it's like aging, and we are all aging, right? Even though are older than others. But it's asking, how are we doing it? Are we doing it mostly from worry or from passion? I love that. Am I coming most of my time from worry or from passion? From fear or from faith? From restlessness or from peace? From habit or creativity? From disconnection or from unity? From without God or with God? So the question becomes then, in the leftover days that we have on this earth, which whatever that might be, what will our north be? What are we left over to accomplish? So today I really want to open that conversation with you in such a way that it becomes your way and not the way of the world, what most people in my age are doing or are striving for. Some of us have clarity on that. Some of us, it's a constant process of being revealed. And it doesn't matter what the case may be. I realize that all of our lives, there's a lot of dots that are connected by one big thread, one big story that it's unfolding. And that somehow our souls came to this earth with something truly important they needed to realize through this earthly experience. So the point is, if you go deeper within yourself, something core, it's really unfolding. And what is it? And I want you to, at this moment, take a deep breath with me. And this might be a talk that you might get something today, or you might get something as the day unfolds or during the workshop. But open up to say, what is it that my soul really needs to realize through my upcoming times? And it doesn't matter what comes about that. It's truly important that part of that revelation involves your willingness to be a server in this world. I don't know if you're familiar with a Jewish teaching called the Tikkun Olam. Tikkun Olam talks about the need for repair in this world. It implies that while the world is innately good, its creator purposely left room for us to improve upon his work. All human activities are opportunities to fulfill this mission, and every human being can be involved in that tikkun olam. So if that is so, what is left for me to improve in myself and out there? I don't know if I resonate that much with repair because it really implies a lot of brokenness, but what is it that I'm meant to, my own awakening and realization that this is mine to do, that I will bring something of value to the rest of us? And it can really feel really big. And the first thing that might come, because it's happened to me, you go like, am I enough? If there's enough for me to do this. And I wanted to bring a biblical character that would really portray this, in which we have a very important thing to accomplish. It's coming through, we get the calling, and then we doubt. And that is Moses, right? Moses was chosen to take the people out of the slavery of the Pharaoh. And the very first thing that Moses tells God is like, am I capable? Do I have the capacity? And it happens to us, right? When that very vision comes from above, we need to understand that everything that is needed for us, if it's God-given, everything that we need in order to fulfill that will be provided. And that's something that I am seeing in my own experience. You know, you step forward in faith, you notice your calling, you have doubts, and you still keep walking, and you realize that somehow things are magically happening because you are doing what it's meant for you to do and be. The other questions that might be, is it too late? And you know that Moses was 80 when he was asked to do this task, and he learned about his mission, and most of the personal experiences that Moses had internally with God was towards the last 40 years of his life. So it is never really late when you give that to that presence to guide you. And I have a quote from me. Why is it funny? It is never late to give your life to God and allow for this new way of connecting with the one presence to guide you. And I read a mark here, say it twice. It is never late to give your life to God and allow for this new way of connecting with the one presence to guide you. We never know the things that God can accomplish through us. It will definitely involve breaking with concepts of what Unity calls the race consciousness, which is really the connective consciousness says when you're at a certain age that there's health issues that have to come with age. And in Spanish, we say achaques. And I told Claire, how do you say achaques in English? Mom, we don't have a word for that. So you have to break, but the Spanish speakers know what I'm talking about. We have to break this idea that age means economic scarcity, that age, it's loneliness, that more age is a lack of new projects. This is all a level of consciousness that is really not anchored in something truthful. That if we are not willing to break, we're going to be stuck there, right? So it's like it doesn't matter where you are at in your own path, and even if you're like a senior, it's like don't go there because it's not going to be of any help to any of us. Recently, I saw an interview of Morgan Freeman in a morning show. And he had just finished a new movie, a new documentary. And the interviewer says, so Morgan, how old are you now? And he says, 87. And he looks at her and says, age is just a number. Wow, how liberating, right? Age is just a number. And we see it in the story of Moses. So when I tell you about a daring vision and a new beginning and opening up to a deeper revelation of the divine, it's not necessarily something external that you're meant to accomplish. It could be about really changing a pattern in you. It could be getting rid of some destructive habits. It could be maybe say, oh, why don't you have some more adventure in your life, right? And it might be ultimately about how can I be more spiritually balanced in my life. And recently, through the show that Osvaldo and I, by the way, hello Osvaldo, nice that I see you here. We talked, the quest talks about divine equilibrium. How can we make the experience of divine equilibrium in us a priority? Maybe that's your biggest contribution. Truly making your spiritual life and evolution be like the core of your intentions and actions. Probably like 7 years ago, I was in charge of the rentals at Unity of the Triangle. And this gentleman who used to live in this area, John Seskevich, some of you might know him. Was one of the disciples of Ram Dass. And everybody knows who Ram Dass is, I don't have to say. And I started listening to Ram Dass material during that period, and it was really the only thing that was really nourishing me really deep. And the opportunity to be in a session with Ram Dass came up through Skype. He was in Hawaii, and I had set up for half an hour. That's the time where they were giving. But it turned out that the other person in line didn't show up, so I spent a whole hour in conversation with Ram Dass. And I would say that out of that hour, maybe we talked 25 minutes. Everything else was just doing mantras or being in silence. And my heart was really one of the most powerful spiritual experiences I've had in my life. I could not describe. It was like looking at Jesus. My heart chakra just went boom, and I was experiencing God there. As I was remembering that experience, I realized that Ram Dass had had a stroke when he was 71, like 20 years prior. And his speech was affected, his body was affected. Still, you know how he labeled that experience of the stroke once he realized and he went into that daring vision mentality? He said, this is grace. This is fierce grace for having him go through that, let's say, distortion of his body was really what opened him, awakened him in a way that nothing else could have mattered or done it. And that right there from that wheelchair, he was transforming me, and he had been an amazing presence that to this day. That's just to tell you how when we open up deeper and deeper and we allow for that revelation of truth to come forth, and we are shown directly, this is where you need to go and this is what you need to put your energy into. You really, to honor that you really become a repair person. You really become a person of extreme value to the world. So what I'm saying essentially, don't have to go and say, well, having a certain vision of my life means about world accomplishments. That could be part of it, but it's not everything. And what I'm saying is, go within, open up, and see how can I be more aware? How can I be more truthful to what is being given to me? How can I honor that as I go forward and create the best future I can create for my life here while I'm here on this earth? That's why I call my talk today, I am empowered, all is possible. So please know, the more we get anchored in that divine love, the more we develop that internal connection, the more we make God first, the more we trust and we flow, the more you're going to feel this something pushing you and saying, go for it now, you're ready, this is your time. If you want to, I'm switching into my salesperson, if you want to know more, come to the workshop because we're going to go deeper as to how to explore that daring vision for your life. And we're going to have exercises and, of course, fun. If you have been in one of my workshops, you're going to have fun. Otherwise, you leave and your money back. So anyways, let's close with a prayer right now. I want you to take 2-3 deep breaths. And just sit with whatever is coming to you and through you. And be present to it. And then be loyal to it. And then be aware that as you acknowledge that inner voice, there's power for its realization, its unfoldment, and most of all, that through it all, you will grow and expand where you're meant to expand and be, which is a full expression of the one presence on this earth. And then see and ask, if I'm having this transformation, if I'm honoring this call, it might be about being more involved in this community. It might be that I walk out of my comfort zone and I'm willing to say, hey, I'm here. This is important to me. My time, my talent, my treasure, to be put into something of value and transcendence. And the more we do that, the more blessed we feel. We feel full, complete, happy. And that is my intention for each one of you this morning and for this spiritual community of Unity Center of Peace and for the whole Unity movement and the world. I behold the Christ in you. Thank you so much for being here and sharing sacred space. With that and more, we say thank you, God, and so it is. Amen.
Hi. If this video has inspired you, opened your heart, expanded your consciousness, filled you with hope, empowered you in some way, we encourage you to support what we offer here at Unity Center of Peace by making your donation now. And thank you.